Hey guys, welcome to a video on what I would do as a software engineer in 2024. Excuse me, a little bit under the weather, but what I would do in 2024 if I was learning software engineering from ground zero. And what I would do as a software engineer in 2024 is exactly what I'm doing now, and I'll explain a few moving targets and why obviously this space has matured incredibly. I don't think it's a big deal. First of all, I think when everyone's like, "Oh my God, AI is taking all the jobs," it's becoming increasingly harder to get jobs in the tech space. Guys, like before this year, it was like you could literally take a software course for 6 months and then get a six-figure job. I mean, like like in every other industry, you cannot do that. So that's completely fine. You know that now software engineering has matured, meaning that there's just a ton. Let's get a little circle here, guys. I'm gonna try to explain these things while building the diagrams as best I can. But here's the pool of talent, right? And maybe here's like pay, right? So previously, right, there was just a huge demand for software and not a large pool of talent. So obviously, people want to fulfill this demand for software, right? Demand for software. So the pool of talent increased very rapidly as everyone heard, oh my God, I can get a six-figure salary in 6 months. And and then boom, obviously the pool of talent became roughly the same size as the demand of software. I should really say demand for software engineers because there's a different demand now happening, right? The demand for software is still there, right? It's still just as high as it was, but now the demand for software engineers specifically has actually decreased. And oh, what was that? Oh, I airdropped a video to my computer, but demand for software is still high, as mentioned, but the demand for engineers is actually smaller than the demand for software. Meaning, because we can embellish engineers now with other tools like AI and things like this. So, and it shouldn't intimidate you if you're learning software engineering. It's just part of the game now. It's part of your understanding, right? So here's AI, right? You still need engineers who know what they're doing to interact with AI, especially on a business term, right? When you have companies investing millions and millions of dollars, they definitely want engineers and people who are competent to understand these tools. They're not just going to give it to Greg from accounting, who can do these things, right? You still have to be a competent engineer to integrate AI into a multi-million dollar, decimillion dollar system. So demand for engineers is still there. It's just this demand is, oh, let me move that. Sorry, guys. Airdropping a video over. It's just the demand for engineers is slowly getting overtaken by AI, right? And I don't think it's always going to be overtaken. Because guys, I want to explain this in a business context. I know there's going to be tons of people saying, "Oh, here's like my web developer roadmap for 2024," and I'll probably make a few videos of those. But I want to talk from a business concept of what I'm doing as an engineer, and then what I think is probably the most ROI on your time as an engineer as well, which is going to be far different from what I know a lot of the tech YouTube community is probably recommending because it is like, oh, here's my new 2024 roadmap. I would not think that way if I was learning software engineering this year. I would think, okay, here's software engineering, right, in today's space, right? Pool of talent, really big, all this stuff. I'm going to remove this real quick. Let's just kind of remove this little software engineering block. We just have basically demand for software for businesses. We have demand for software engineers decreasing while AI's ability to replace software engineers, or I'll specifically say AI embellished engineers, right? Because the more engineers that are embellishing themselves with the tools of AI, they're slowly overtaking the demand for software engineers. The pool becomes less of a necessity. Because you have one engineer who could do the job of five. Now, this becomes an argument of business, right? So we can overlap this as a business need for software, guys. Sorry, the text is absolutely super tiny. I'll go boom. So we'll make it much larger. So say business need for software, and for, I'll say SW and SWE for software engineers and software. Okay, so under that pool, let me increase this text size. Sorry guys, this is going to get a little bit technical, but at the same time, it's going to get more bird's eye scope, because I want this to be relevant for even entrepreneurs, even people who are non-technical. I think this is still a very valid video for. Let's see. So boom, point 48. Say AI. So demand for software engineers, demand for software. And then this is all under, right? So this is all under the business need for software and software engineers. Business employers, they're like, whatever, just get the software built. We don't really care. I don't care how you do it. I don't care about your roadmaps. I don't care about the tech you use. Just get the business job done, right? That's how businesses operate. They hire out this portion. They're like, whether you use AI, whether you hire 50 people from offshore, we don't care. Get the thing done. So this is a business need for software. Remove that little arrow, and this is let me kind of explain a business. I have a podcast episode coming out roughly on is software engineering still relevant? So I would check that out in conjunction with this. But in my assessment, a business kind of pools into a few things, right? It pools into roughly these three buckets, right? Where you have a business is simply getting a customer or a person, a stranger who has no idea what you do. You're going to educate them on what you do. You're going to give them the product or service of what you do. Then you're going to collect the data or money or payment on what you do, and then handle any sort of back-end operations. But that's kind of a business in a full scope, at least my understanding of a business. But I'll break it down into three buckets. So let's give the three buckets of what a business is. So you have I'll say customer acquisition, right? Or I'll even break down the terms. Getting customers, right? We don't need to use fancy terms. Step one of any business is getting customers. Let's ignore this real quick. So step two is giving product or service. And step three is collecting money, right? Collecting money / I'll say business operations, right? So that could be like handling problems. Maybe one of your customers had an issue. Maybe you have tax things, internal tools, all that stuff, business operations, right? But this is fundamentally what a business is. And obviously these things break down into more things. So getting customers might look at like marketing. You might have a bucket for marketing that exists in this. So you have like marketing, right? You might have branding, right? Brand image, right? You might have email marketing campaigns, campaign, right? Like you're gonna have all these things. You might have, I spelled campaigns wrong, but we don't really care. You'll have like networking, right? Maybe you know people to do business with. Maybe you have good social proof or something, right? So you have networking. You have I don't know, maybe even like TED Talks or public talks. Basically anything to get your product in front of people. So this may not even be TED Talk specifically, but like public. For companies I've worked for, they've done like booths at like places where companies all come together, and they'll like host a booth. So public, I'll say appearances, right? So and there's more. There's so much more for getting customers, prospecting. Like I've worked door-to-door sales even. So then you go door-to-door even. That's like one way of getting customers, right? Then you have like flyers and advertising. Sorry guys, I gotta handle this real quick over here. Getting a little pop up. Sorry. Okay, so but you have this pool of like marketing and it could be a combination of these things. Some companies do some of these, some of them do all of them, some of them do less. There's probably more too. There's Facebook advertising. MySpace, sorry, not MySpace. That would be funny. But YouTube, there's influencers. There's like companies will pay micro influencers on YouTube, right? Here, advertise my product. So you have YouTuber influences. You have all these things that's basically just prospecting, getting customers, getting people aware of your product and tool. Then your next bucket, maybe guys, I could also put a giant arrow here above all this to say this is what a business is. And this is all very relevant, right? So I'm getting, hold on, I need to deal with this little pop-up again. Why am I getting a pop-up over here? I'm trying to build something for y'all. My freaking computers, I got 3 screens up, and one of them's acting all funky. Like he wants to smoke, you know? But okay, so this is what a business is. It doesn't really need to be an arrow, but I should say this is like how cash flows. It's cash or data, right? Basically the same thing in today's world. And this is all an umbrella of, I need one of these. This would be perfect. Just need it this way. Sweet. Oh, this thing's tiny. Will this make it bigger? Okay, that's not going to work. I thought that would work, but basically this is all what okay, here it goes. Boom. Oh, that's what I needed the whole time. That's what the pop-up was. So distracting, so annoying. But all of this, guys, is a business. So I just want a bird's eye view. Say that again one more time. This is all like the understanding of a business, right? So cash flow and data flow, and I'll even put another arrow above this of like your customer. How do I put this? Like a customer awareness, right? Customer awareness of your product. So what I mean by that is first, guys, this is a lot to cover for not a lot of time, but I'm going to keep trying to cover it. So basically, you have a stranger, then you have a customer, right? Or a user, one of the two, whatever. And then you have a loyal, like returning customer, right? Hopefully, that's the end goal, right? So this is like your customer awareness. First, they start as nobody, just a complete random person on the side of the street. Then you educate them. Hey, this is what we do. This is our product. This is what we're about. Maybe you've seen us before. Maybe you've seen some social proof. We've hired 50 people to influence to advertise our product on shovels. We are the best shovel company that exists. Now you as a stranger know, okay, this is the best company. They have golden shovels. They've spent 40 years redefining how the shovel shape is. They spent five weeks defining how strong the steel ring is that connects the shovel, the spade to the stick. They don't even use a wooden stick anymore. They use this composite fiberglass stick. Why do they do it? It has the perfect flex. Whatever their product is, right? Boom. You as a stranger, or me as a stranger, right? Oh, I need to buy a shovel. I now know that Shovels R Us is the best company for it for such and such reason. I now become a little bit more. There's more steps in between this too, by the way. So maybe I'd say an aware stranger, right? And I now move from after this advertising step, right? From being a complete stranger, didn't know anything about these shovels, to now I'm aware. And then after awareness, you might make a decision to purchase the shovel, right? So now we have shovel. Oop, don't know why we have YouTube influencer over there. But then after the user, you might become a returning user, a returning customer, one of the two. And then you become a loyal customer, right? So there's certainly, and I'm sure this breaks down even more, but there's like it's a spectrum, right? You're trying to get people from unawareness to awareness to a understanding of your product and understanding the value of your product. See if it's a good exchange for them. Hey, I own a company of dirt moving guys. All they do is shovel dirt all day. It's probably a good idea I study a good shovel company, right? Like it's probably a good business operation to do that. So that's roughly what business kind of is, at least at this step of getting customers. Then you have a product, right? And this product could be anything. It could be, again, your shovel service, right? SaaS tools, whatever it is. SaaS, AI, heavy equipment, project management solutions, content creation, right? Maybe you're a marketing agency. Maybe you're whatever your product or service is. At least in this case, we have shovels, right? But this is where we all know 50 different companies, right? From Target to Walmart to certain shoe companies, watch companies, Rolex, this, that, the other. This is their product and service. But what else is this? Luxury. But you as a user, right, a stranger, at least, and I'll even put Capillary Collection. I used to work for a Capillary Collection startup, fantastic company. Capillary Collection is a blood withdrawal, so very fantastic group of individuals. I've worked for a blockchain protocol, so we'll put that in there as well. As mentioned, I've also worked door to door for roofing. I've also been a diesel mechanic, so we'll put heavy equipment. Oh, it's already in there. Perfect. And I've also worked at sporting goods stores. So I've been a cashier. So we'll put that in there as well. Sporting goods. I've also worked for oil and gas startup. Whatever the product and service is, though, that this is roughly what your company does. Google, hey, we're a search engine, we're Gmail, we're a few other things, advertising, things like that. But you have your product and service, and people have no idea what this is. And this product and service, this is how businesses kind of operate. Is, well, we need people who are good at this. So we need someone who's good at marketing, right? So you have your marketing department, all right? You have your sales department. This exists over here, right? Marketing, sales, and probably a few other things. But roughly, there you go. You have your marketing and sales, and then over here, for actually generating the product, you have people who are going to do, I'll say, product acquisition, right? So maybe you're like an e-commerce platform. Well, you need someone who to go locate the product. You need someone to get your supplier. You need someone to do all these things. Or you need to build the product. So you have product acquisition or product generation. So for instance, I'm building a project management system, which is going relatively successful, teamsinker.com. And I had to build the product. Oops, just wanted to go to the website, not the Kanban page. So this is my SaaS product. I had to generate this. I had to build it, right? So someone might be a YouTuber. They might need to record content. Someone might be the shovel companies. Well, they need to engineer the spade. They need to build the shovel. They need to build it. Or if they're going to outsource it, that's fine too. But you need to acquire the product. So basically, you have product generation, which I would say is engineering, or product acquisition, which is what would you say, outsourcing or supply? I guess outsourcing, supplying, supplier. So if you're like a music producer, you might go buy samples. You might outsource to a company to build your music. You might for engineering, they do this very, very often. They have offshore teams. For e-commerce, they do outsourcing, right? A lot of these companies for like drop shipping, they don't actually hold the product themselves. They're the middleman. They find the product and then find the customer and put the pieces together. But you're still ultimately giving a product or service. If you're a lawn mowing company, this is I would say engineering. I don't know what I would call lawn mowing company. I guess product generation in this sense, or just your product or value. So maybe service. So maybe labor, I guess is probably a good enough term, right? So if you build cement platforms for houses, or not platforms, excuse me, but foundations. That's labor. That's what your job does. It's going to be a combination of getting product and labor. So, but that is roughly an adequate portion for this section of the company. And this is all going to be relevant too in a moment on why software engineering is or what I would do as a software engineer is in 2024. I would understand this number one, right, of where you fit in the business. But number two, when we have collection, right? So you have business operations and collection. This is going to be your payment portals. So whether it's like a Stripe, whether you're the person who handles cash, whether you're the accountant, whether you're HR or something. If your company's really big, you might have HR, human resources, and internal tooling, right? So if there's issues within the company, You have internal tools or whatever, or even not issues with the company, just like, oh, this is something that we use as a tool for our company. It's specific to us. We have a project management system, and this is the best one that we use, right? You might have oh, we have employee benefits, right? You might have a business card or a gas card, right, for your company. That's like an internal tooling. There's business operations. If there's customer issues, it's going to be handled over here. And I would almost put business logic in here, even though business logic is still with like engineering. I would say I would almost put it over here as well. And again, I think this one could float kind of in between. There might be one more bucket I'm missing, but this is going to be like your business logic, right? Your like AWS infrastructure. I wouldn't say building the infrastructure, but when someone can have a report, right, like a report on your company, I would put report data report and I would even say it goes as far as like someone looking at your AWS infrastructure if you're in engineering, right? But there's other companies that don't use AWS. There's still tons of companies. Like I said, I've worked for all the companies I've said. I only like two of them actually used AWS. And granted, they're huge companies, but some of these other companies that were same size financially, and they don't use any of this stuff. They have some of these things, but they don't have like AWS infrastructures, right? They would definitely benefit from data tracking and data handling and things like that, but they don't actually have that. So this would be, I guess, your HR department. This would be your CEOs who need to make like large business scale decisions, I would say. What else? What else would go here? I would say probably your upper management, more than likely. Upper management, your VPs, all that stuff, your presidents, accountants, as mentioned, right? But people who are kind of handling business. How would I think? Like these guys, the marketing sales are like telling people, hey, we have gears and oil. These people are the gears and oil, and these people are like the oil. Or I guess, yeah. These people would be telling people, we have gears and oil. Here's the gears. Here's the oil, right? Like where the company comes together is, hey, oh, we identify that this system could be more efficient, so efficiencies, right? Maybe you've been doing something in your company for 10 years, and you're like, oh, we learned about Excel and Word, and we can use these things to onboard people, to get them up and running and ultimately more profitable for the company sooner than later. If they have a system to follow, hey, step one, this is how you do this. Step two, this is how you do this. Step three, this is how you do this, right? So or again, like internal tools. Hey, we built this new tool that makes this job 5% more efficient. Or AI wise, we built this new AI tool. We're a content creation company, and you can use AI. It's an internal tool that we built or even bought or outsourced, and you could go ahead and use this tool to produce more content. So if you're an engineer looking at all this is all business, right? This is all like me from having failed at companies, having failed at advertising, distribution, at engineering, even at many things that I've failed with. And this is the knowledge that I've acquired, right? But engineering, right? You're just one part in this. You're just over here, right? You're a portion of this product or service bucket, if you will. And it's important to understand that, because in today's world, when you have AI, and this is now where I could speak on the scope of AI, and then I'll wrap up the video. If you're building AI, right, or in a company, if you have AI tools to kind of take care of marketing and sales, or at least the initial outreach part of it, right, you have a ton of tools for that, whether it's email marketing. You have AI to kind of compensate, right, and cover some of the product and engineering. This is kind of where we started at the whole thing, the AI demand for software. Or excuse me, the demand for software and demand for software engineers. This is all just going to be this little bucket right here of engineering, right? But basically, your business's need for software is going to exist right here for engineering, at least for software engineering, right? You might be mechanical engineering, you might be other engineering, but for business, for software engineering, it's going to be this bucket effectively that exists under this product and services deal. But if AI is kind of eating up some of this, right, and even upper management stuff, right? Of efficiencies, internal tooling, customer help. There's like customer chatbots. AI is kind of eating up all this, and your natural thought is, oh my God, they're taking our jobs. And to some degree, yes, like yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Yeah, yeah, you hit it right on the head. Is yeah, one engineer who can do 5 different things is absolutely taking 5 different jobs. So the question becomes, do you sit here and say, well, let me just really hyper focus on this one part of engineering of a business, right? So this is a whole business, and there's more to it. I'm just like bird's eye giving you a kind of broad stroke over what a business is. But the question is, do you hyper focus on this one part, or are you better off trying to build this whole system yourself? And that's exactly what I'm doing, guys. So I would go ahead and augment yourself, to be honest, to do these multiple different parts, right? So because effectively, if you're able to do 80 hours a week for this, and this is now being a little bit eaten up by AI, right? Whether it's tech jobs, whether people are cutting kind of engineering pays, whether companies aren't allocating as much money to as big of teams for engineers. It all makes sense when you look at a business operation, right? Well, it does make sense and it doesn't make sense, right? Because it makes sense that a company wants to lower their overhead as much as possible. Like they want the most bang for their buck. Every company does, because it's literally their lifeblood. If they have no cash, I don't know, maybe this will be cash. We'll use this. This kind of looks, even though it's a table, it kind of looks like a pile of cash, right? Okay, that's not working out very well for us. Let me undo that. But okay, so if a company has a pile of cash that's constantly being drained because of salaries, office spaces, this, that, the other, just overhead cost, internal tools, gas cards, employee lunches, dinners, company lunches, like the whole thing costs money. The entire business costs money, right? And if you can effectively pay for an engineer, so ChatGPT, a monthly subscription for ChatGPT is $20, or you could pay for an engineer that's $170,000 a year. So $20 a month, or $170,000, right? That's eating away at this cash pool. Well, you're probably going to opt for the $20 a month at least first, or at least consider it as part of your business model, right? Like you would be foolish to not. But then the other question is well, or do you hire an engineer for $170,000 who can then also become 5 different engineers and kind of eat up majority of the space for you? Oops, looks like we ran out of space here. But that's what's going on here, and it's not just relevant to engineering. It's the same thing. Okay, would you rather pay a marketing girl who can generate, or excuse me, 5 marketing people who can build content creation, or do you pay one good content creator and give them all the $20 a month subscriptions that they need, or $100 a month subscriptions? So you're effectively in the hole for $100,000 a year versus $600,000 a year, right? For 5 employees. Which one are you going to choose? You're obviously going to go for the person that's cheaper, right? Now I think there's an argument, at least within companies, right? I think there's an argument that the companies who are really going to win aren't the companies who are saying, oh, I want, maybe I can visualize this real quick. Let me pull out one of these. So there's basically all this company data, all of it equates to, let's see, I'll just pretend that the company basically all points to this, which is output, right? So like business output, like real life tangible value. So value, and we have value with AI, and we have value without AI. So I think what companies are trying to do now is maintain value with AI by cutting overhead, but just embellishing their systems, right? So here's their overhead now. Overhead with AI, right, is this, and then overhead without AI. Let's see this. Your overhead without AI is effectively going to be the whole company. So So I think what companies are trying to do is this, right? Which is maintain the same amount of value while cutting overhead, which makes perfect sense. You're going to do that at every cost corner you can within a company. But I think the companies that are saying, "Oh, we'll remain this same overhead and we'll just change this one factor to with AI," then your value now becomes infinitely higher, or at least substantially higher. If you now have 5 people working in the marketing who are all using AI and who are educated on it, you bought classes for, certifications for, all that stuff, seems to be a little bit more my approach of how I would operate a business, and probably what I'll do down the road. But I think what companies are doing is roughly this right here is, well, our overhead's 100% and our value's 100% without AI. Well, if we could keep the value 100% with AI and then drop our overhead by 50%, well, then let's just do that. It's a 50% boost to the business revenue immediately. So it makes sense on why companies are cutting jobs or withdrawing money from certain departments. It makes perfect sense from a business standpoint. But where is it relevant for you as an engineer learning engineering in 2024 is, one, I would definitely understand this as a bird's eye view of what a business truly is it's these things all working in accumulation with each other, and you have to be a business engineer now is what I would recommend, not be a software engineer. I would be a business engineer, because a quote unquote business engineer, you may be doing software tasks, right? But if I were you, and this is exactly what I've done, and this is what has somewhat sustained me in this period of time, is don't be a software engineer, be a business engineer, where you say, I could help with this portion of the business. You need help with marketing and sales and user acquisition and data prospecting. Okay, not a problem. I can figure it out. I'll build the data scraping tools, the user lead generation pipelines, whatever you need. I'll figure it out. Oh, you also need help with software engineering or product generation. Not a problem. I've built this, I've built this, I've built this. I can build this. I can build this and that and the other for you. Not a problem. I'll figure it out. Oh, you need help with internal tooling. Well, I can build analytic things. I can build internal bots, or I can show you how to integrate the internal bots, or do it yourself for these things. Or as mentioned, generating data reports, integrating Stripe, any sort of business logic, just basically internal tooling efficiencies or external tooling and efficiencies. But I would not look at software engineering as, oh, I'm going to sit here and build websites, and that's going to be my key to success in 2024, because it absolutely will not be. You could go on Wix, you could outsource cheap engineers now who are doing phenomenal jobs offshore for even cheaper. It's not a good idea to have just a one trick, or be a one trick pony in 2024. It's not going to work. So unfortunately, though, and I've even experienced this 100%, is it raises the barrier of entry into software engineering, right? 100% it does, because it's like now you have to deal with engineers who've been doing this for 5-10 years, who have a 5-10 year head start on both you and I. And then on top of that, like the floor of becoming a software engineer is just increasing, because it's, again, why would a company pay for that $170,000 salary when they could pay ChatGPT for $20? So I if I was a software engineer, I would not approach it in the sense of I will just be a software guy. You need to be a business problem solver. That is the new software engineering in 2024, and that's why my channel is so powerful and relevant, because I have experience in all of these domains, and I've failed in all of these domains. I've succeeded in all of these domains, and this is something that I don't know if other channels are being transparent about. I think yes, software is still important. I think there's still understanding for it. I think there's still a need for it, but I think this business engineer position is what's going to emerge out of kind of all this AI and 2024 movement, because there is nobody more valuable to a business than the guy or the girl who can interact with the AI the best, and then also apply it to your your business at any sector, at any department. So that is where I'll wrap up the video. If I was an engineer in 2024, and I am an engineer in 2024, and this is exactly what I'm doing, is I'm not operating with the hat on saying, oh, I'm just a software engineer. It's, oh no, if you need a native app built, I could do that. If you need a web app built, I could do that. If you need data handled, I could do that. If you need data scraped, I could build data emitters and scrapers and things that structure data. If you need anything, I will figure it out. Email campaigns, prospecting pipelines. That's content creation. Even YouTube, I'm building this channel. It's just one of those things. So, or excuse me, YouTube is just one of these customer acquisition things on top of data prospecting, scraping data sheets for people's information and things like that. So this is my bird's eye view of what a company kind of is, and it's also my bird's eye view of where the new software engineer would fit in. So if I was an engineer in 2024, yes, I would still look for my front-end engineering roadmaps. Let's see, roadmap. Yes, I would still look for my back-end engineering roadmaps as well. I would pick one, you know what I mean? Obviously, learning JavaScript and Python and things like that is really difficult to do, which does take time. Probably takes 3 to 6 months for each one of those things just to kind of wrap your head initially around it, and then you have to learn even more. You have like AWS and systems design, and let's see, systems design. You got a ton of stuff, and this is stuff that I could absolutely learn more on, is AWS and systems design or Microsoft Azure. But as a whole, I would if I'm an engineer in 2024 and learning software development, I would absolutely spend 80% of my time still learning software, but I would definitely, undeniably, take 20% of my time to do stuff outside of it. So figure out data, lead generation, prospecting, HR tools, internal analytic tools, on top of learning software, on top of spend your time learning back-end engineering, but then also spend your time on like, well, how could I market myself as a better back-end engineer, or be a teacher to other engineers even. So I wouldn't just pigeonhole myself though down the software product lane. I think that's a really, really dangerous position to be in. But I do think on the inverse coin, if you kind of pigeonhole yourself, or the opposite of pigeonhole yourself on a business lane, if you will, a business engineer, I think the value of your position actually doubles, because you could do it all. You could do it across the board. So I hope that helps the engineers, because I know that 2024 or 2023 has been a rough year, but that is been my assessment of how to outsmart the system, if you will, in today's environment. That is exactly what I would do if I was learning software engineering in 2024. So, and it is exactly what I'm doing now. So I hope that helps you guys. Yeah, and obviously my channel has content on all this stuff, and I'll be breaking down more of this across 2024. So I'm very, very, very excited, and I hope this was a fruitful talk. I will see you on the next one.